Hello, welcome back. If this is your first video, I'm Colleen McCurley, and I'm starting this YouTube series to interview different students from musical theater college programs all across the country. And today is a really special video because I wanted to do these mainly to highlight programs that I didn't hear about or lesser well known but still amazing programs, all those little hidden gems. So students actually reached out to me after I posted my first video, so that was super cool. And yeah, so today we're gonna be interviewing two students actually from Central Michigan University all about their musical theater program. And if you haven't watched already, go back. I already have videos up on Elon Musical Theater, on Northeastern's theater program, and I'm gonna be interviewing a friend sometime in the next week about Ithaca, so keep an eye out for that. But today is all about Central Michigan University, and they have a really cool program, so I'm so excited to talk more about it. Okay, do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Jessica, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm going to be a junior in the music theater program at Central Michigan.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm an incoming freshman musical theater major at Central Michigan.
That's awesome. So how did you guys first hear about Central Michigan?
I first heard about it because there are only 4 universities in Michigan that offer a BFA in musical theater. So that's kind of how I heard about it. And since I'm from Michigan, I was like, well, I may as well audition close to home first and then figure out other programs. And then I was fortunately able to visit the campus and everything, get kind of a feel for the department. And that's when I really got more of an idea of what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar, I'm from Michigan as well, and there again are only 4 programs in Michigan. So I auditioned for the 3 of them except for U of M. And I found it through just looking at what musical theater majors are in Michigan, and then I researched from there.
That's so cool. So for Central Michigan, do you guys do pre-screen or what is your audition process?
There isn't a pre-screen, but we have 2 on-campus audition dates where you have 4 minutes to do 2 songs and 2 monologues, and then there's a music theory placement exam kind of thing, and then there's a dance call later in the day. Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole structure.
Yeah. Do you guys go to Unifieds or is it just those 2 weekends on campus?
It's just those 2 weekends because we're kind of a smaller department, so we don't have the resources to go to Unifieds, but we do get a pretty good turnout because that's when we do our BFA acting days. That's when we do the musical theater days, and anybody who's applying for a technical degree also can come in on those days.
Do you know, can your audition count for both? Because I know some programs you can just do one audition for acting and musical theater. Do you know, does it work like that?
So I auditioned for musical theater and acting, and I got into both programs. So you just audition for both at the same time.
That's so cool. So what do your class sizes tend to be?
It really depends because sometimes we get some transfer students that come in, so it's hard to determine who is really freshmen, in my class we had 15, but only half of us were first years because half of us had come from the university and re-auditioned, or they had come from different places. So it's about between 10 and 20 total, including incoming freshmen and anybody who's transferring. And then of course, as we go through, some people drop out, some people add in. It kind of fluctuates, but it's that between 10 and 20 kind of number.
Yeah, I don't know my whole class yet, but of the people I'm talking to, there's probably 13 of us musical theater and acting students that I know of right now. I won't know everyone until end of July or August, but as right now there's about 13 musical theater and acting students, but I'm not sure if there's more.
Yeah, no, that's a really good number. And now moving into your curriculum, because when I looked into this program, the first thing that stood out to me was how many directing classes, there was lighting and crew classes were built into your curriculum. Because I feel at a lot of programs that tends to be an elective option, but you have a ton of classes like that on top of you're still taking your ballet, your voice, your acting. So can you guys talk about how that curriculum works for you guys?
Yeah, so pretty much like in your on like Central Michigan, when you go in, they have like a degree progress thing, and like there are different categories of classes. And of course, like one category is like your music theory, your basic dance, your basic acting, things like that. But then there are other categories where you're required to take two different, we call them studio credits, which are technical studios. So you have to work on at least two different crew aspects, whether it's like costumes or set design or lights or things like that, because they want to make sure that you understand those aspects as well, so that once you graduate, you're not like stuck in one narrow thing. You can find more ways to find work if, like, you know, you're auditioning for a company and they're like, well, we don't really have a place for you performance wise, but if you want to be a costume apprentice while you're working on this different show, we'd love to hire you. Like, you don't want to limit yourself. Yeah.
One thing I really appreciate about the program, and one of the reasons that really like made me want to go there, is they're not very set on like, this is a dance heavy program, this is a singing heavy program. It's like very evened out. And I like how they also have the technical aspects in it. So it's not just, it's I get to learn everything, because a lot of programs like have like a heavier like dancing, and it's like you want to even that out, because as a musical theater major, you want to be a triple threat. And even more with you having those technical aspects helps markets you even more. So I really appreciate that they gave you all of these options and all of these classes that you can take.
Yeah. And how do you guys balance that on top of like core classes? Do you guys have any core classes, or is it all like performance and technical stuff?
Yeah, there are some general education requirements because it's a public university, but you get an advisor within the program who will kind of help lead you through that, because when you come in, they have like a bulletin kind of thing that like lays out like a picture perfect course plan for 4 years, and it kind of tells you like you'll take these classes freshman year and you can fit in a gen ed there, or you can fit in things in certain places. And obviously, like if you have to take different classes at different times, you can figure that out and like make adjustments, because sometimes classes don't run and then you're stuck because not enough people registered. So they're, if you talk to your advisor, they're really really understanding about that, and they'll plug something else in if that class that you were originally supposed to be registered for doesn't run, so that like you do graduate on time.
One thing is, so I did a year of community college, so I'm a transfer student. But a thing is, like, for my first semester, I have 0 gen eds, and I have 1 gen ed my second semester. And again, that might be because I have some credits behind me. But I know some, like, people that are coming in as freshmen, and it's like, you're not overwhelmed by those gen eds. You can spread them out pretty well. And, like, it's not, like, overwhelming. And you get a good amount of training, and it's, like, a good even out thing. Because, like, this upcoming semester, I just have, like, my major. So it just depends.
Yeah, no, that's really nice. And I know that's something I always would recommend to people going into musical theater, is if there's any way you can get rid of those gen eds,
Yes.
if that's something you're interested in, whether it be AP or getting like community college credits, like that can be so useful. So you can just focus your time on the training you're really looking for.
Yes, I highly recommend it, because it helped me so much, because I don't like that type of like I don't like math or anything. So getting it out of the way so I can focus on what I want to do in the future is very helpful.
Yes, I agree. So can you guys, especially this year, a huge reason why I want to make these videos is people can't go to campus. So if for whatever reason they weren't able to go to campus, can you talk about both just campus life in general, like not as a musical theater major, but just like what's Central Michigan all about? But then also like kind of give information about like the physical layout of the school, and are you dorming with other majors and like all that type of thing.
So when you first come in, you have the option to live in the music residential college, which is for pretty much any music student. So you have like instrumentalists, vocalists, music composition majors, music theater majors, or like that's just on one specific floor. But then a lot of times other theater majors choose to live in that building, and that's in Herrig, which is on East Campus. But if you don't want to like live with only people from your major. There are like two other dorms in that area that like you can easily go over there, hang out with people and like spend time, but then like be able to go home and escape that for a little bit. Because, you know, it's hard if you're living with all theater majors because you spend all day together and then you go to rehearsal together and then you go home and it's like, I saw you all day. So sometimes, but like, of course, obviously it works, but sometimes you just like want a little bit of time. And in a dorm setting, it's hard because a lot of times you're sharing rooms. But I know with the coronavirus, I think they're planning on splitting up so there's less people in dorms to create more distancing. I'm not sure exactly how that plan is working. But yeah, so that's kind of how it is for living with other people. But the campus is a really good size. From like one end to the other, it's about 20 to 25-minute walk. So it's not too bad. Depending on where you are, you could wake up 15 minutes before class and still get there in time, which is really, really nice. And personally, I like the atmosphere of it because like our president of the university is super present. He'll walk around, he comes to all the theater events, he comes to all the music events, he goes to everything. And he's just a really, really good force on campus, I think, because he creates this community of togetherness, I guess. That sounds really cheesy, but it's just a great like atmosphere to learn in because you feel like the people who you're learning from actually care about what you're doing.
Yeah, and another thing is, so I'm living in Herrick, and I was really wanting to live with other musical theater majors, but I ended up, I'm dorming with three. Well, it might change because of the corona, but three music education majors, and I recommend like something like if you don't want to like live with other musical theater majors, I think living with someone kind of close to your major could be good because you're not always together. I'm probably gonna have 0 classes with them because they're doing like instruments and I'm not. So, but we can still like bond on like we're both involved in music and it's like we're both like involved in that kind of stuff. So like that's something that I'm looking forward to, not being overwhelmed by seeing the same person all day long. So that's I definitely recommend something like that.
Yeah. It seems like there's a really big performing arts presence on that campus in general. Like you seem to have a lot of majors. So how much overlap is there between those majors? Like
Um,
an acting class with them, that type of thing.
yeah, I know a lot of the BFA technical students, they're required to take at least acting one. So you do get to interact with them somewhat that way. And then we have a theater fraternity on campus, Alpha Psi Omega, that I'm a part of. So that's open to anybody who participates in main stage shows or studio shows. You just have to be in a certain amount of productions. Like you get points based on your roles and things and then you get inducted based on that. But we have a ton of different people. We've got technical majors, acting BFAs, music theater BFAs, people who are just like theater bachelor of arts who aren't planning on getting a BFA but are still really involved. So that's a good way to meet other people as well because it's all very, very collaborative. And especially through those technical studios as well, because you're working with people who want to do this for their degree. And like, obviously they've taken more classes. So like, if you need help, they'll help you, which is really, really nice. It builds a great community. So it's less like, oh, we're music theater majors, we only talk to music theater majors, or like, oh, we're acting majors, we only talk to acting majors. There's definitely a lot of overlap, which is really nice because then it creates, once you're all working on a show together, it's easier because you want to help them in any way they can and they want to help you any way they can.
Yeah. What are your performance opportunities on campus? Like how many shows do you guys tend to do a year and are those available from like day one as a freshman?
Yeah, so for the main stage, we do a fall play and a fall musical. And then in the spring semester, we do 2 plays. And in the fall, those are open to freshmen to audition. But in addition to those, we do a lot of studio productions, which can either be faculty directed or student directed, or they're like dance performances. And those really vary. There are a ton of opportunities to audition for. So even if you're not working on like a main stage production that's part of the formal season, you can be working with faculty and doing things. Like I know the spring of my freshman year, the one of our faculty members directed a show called For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough, because two students came to her and said, we really, really want to do this show. So she made it happen and then held auditions, and they were able to put it up. So that's a really nice part too, these studio productions. If you have a show that you really, really, really want to put up, you can talk to the faculty, make meetings, and they'll pretty much do their hardest to see it happen. So in that regard, there's lots of different opportunities. And in the spring, part of the main stage season, we have the University Theater Dance Company. So that's just a full dance concert with our dance minors. And now we have a dance major. So it would be that, or anybody who wants to audition. Yeah.
That's so good. I love that. So moving forward then into your senior year and kind of even before that, how do you guys have connections to any like summer stock programs, or how do you feel like you're going to Central Michigan is helping you build connections to the industry?
We have connections with Thunder Bay Theater in Alpena, Michigan. And then usually during our senior year, we go to New York and do a showcase. But this last year, we had a really, really small senior class, and they had a huge restructuring, so we weren't able to go. But they're working on getting that back again, because like whoever was running it like never communicated with our department that they had quit. So it was just a whole mess, but we're still working on getting that back together. But usually there is like a formal showcase in New York to kind of get agents together, get summer stocks together. And a lot of the upperclassmen are super helpful, because we'll sign up for like A1, which is a conference in New York, or the Midwest auditions, which is in St. Louis, or SETC. And it's a lot of communication between the faculty, and they'll help you put together audition material. We have a whole class called Audition Techniques, which is just working monologues and working cuts and figuring out how to audition and things like that, which I think is super helpful for being prepared. And I had it this semester with all of this madness. So within that, we learned how to like make a self-tape and things like that, which is going to be a lot more popular now that the virus is a thing. So classes like that, in addition to showcases in themselves, I think do a lot to help prepare you for graduation and like going out and finding professional summer stock work and finding work after graduation.
Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of all the questions I had. Do you guys have anything you'd like to add, or just kind of give a final piece of advice for people looking at the program?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say is I auditioned at about like 17 programs, and out of all the programs I auditioned for, the students at Central were like the nicest, most welcoming. When I went to my audition, half of the like students weren't there because they were at like the Midwest, whatever that was. So half the students weren't there, and I was like stressed out because I was kind of confused, because I was just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. But then they all came up to me, and like we like did like a quick tour, and they're very welcoming, and everyone there's just very welcoming and knows you're stressed. This is very stressful. And my audition was like late February, so it was like kind of like towards the end of like auditions, and they know like, we know you've been through all of this, we know you're exhausted, and they're just like very nice and welcoming, and made me feel like I'm gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. And it was, I think that like if you're trying to figure out why you should audition at Central, like think about the people too, because that's what I never thought about, is like I need to look at the other students when I audition, and I wasn't really paying attention to that, and then I started to pay attention to it, and it helped me make my decision for sure.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. Because the people around you really can make or break your experience, and they're going to be the ones pushing you through. And when you have hard days, it's those people who build you back up. So the other kids, both in your class, but also in classes above you, are a huge part of what makes your experience at a program.
Yes, for sure.
Jessica, do you have any final things you want to add?
Well, I'm also a dance minor, which I think is a good option for music theater students as well, because we have dance classes built into our curriculum, and like it's a good minor to add if you want to add one, because some of those classes overlap, and some of the additional classes you can use as electives as part of your degree. And the dance faculty is super duper. I love them. I love them all. They They're so helpful, and they're also really helpful with like auditions and things like that. Like I remember I had to submit a pre-screen for something and they gave me literally zero notice. And so I just emailed one of them and I was like, "Hey, so in 2 weeks I need to submit a video. Will you help me choreograph something?" And she was like, "Yeah, come to my office." So they want to see you succeed. And if you're interested in like focusing more on dance, like they love to get you in there, because part of the dance minor too is understanding like the background of dance. And you have to do like one of these classes, like a research class where you like pick a topic within dance that interests you and you like write a whole research paper on it, which is a skill that you wouldn't think would come in handy in the arts, but it's like a really, really interesting project to do. And they're all helping you along the way. And then you have that knowledge going forward, which I personally think is really, really valuable.
Yeah, I'm a dance minor too, and I agree with all of that.
That's amazing. So, what other, just to tag on, because I think this is really important information for people to know, what other minors can you add in, or can you double major within the theater program?
Yeah, it's pretty much, they'll figure it out. Like, I have a friend, Claire, she just graduated this last year. She was a double major in musical theater, journalism, and a minor in piano. So she pretty much created her whole program. It was intense and it was extremely stressful, but she did it. So pretty much if you can find a way to make the classes fit, you can add anything. Like I know people who have like an ASL, like American Sign Language minor, in with a music theater major, or they'll get like a Spanish minor or something like that. Like you can pretty much add anything if you're like really interested in it. Like I know someone who's adding like a photojournalism minor with their music theater major because in addition to performance, they want to be able to like run publicity for a theater and things like that. So you can pretty much add anything as long as you communicate with your advisor and you figure out how to make those classes fit into your schedule.
Yeah, I like my advisor and I were talking about like eventually adding a sign language minor into mine, because like you can really like mix and match with anything, like a lot of different things. It's definitely a program where you can, if you want to do something, there's probably a way you can do it.
That's amazing. So thank you so much for doing this with me. I can already tell this is going to be so helpful for people watching. Did you guys cover? I just want to make sure we covered everything that you guys want to talk about.
I think so, but I don't know if it's the same with you.
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Yeah, amazing. So then I just kind of like to end it with a final good luck to everyone who's watching, who's maybe about to go through this process, and just keep going because you guys got this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Maybe we'll see you on campus.
That's the other thing is comment if you're interested in getting in touch with more people about this program. Just comment, message me, something like that, and I can get you in touch with
Yep,
people.
and I'm in the Legally or the Search for Elle Woods group. My name's Grace Gray. Just search me. I'll talk to you.
Amazing. Okay, bye.